Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Happy Tuesday. This week we decided to do things a little differently. We're going to keep this short and sweet, but we're going to talk about the science of gratitude and success and why thankful people win more, why they earn more money, why they are happier. So, give thanks, right? Show more gratitude. And it does come back around to serve you as well.
Absolutely.
So last week we talked about which states charge the lowest property taxes. This week, as you join us, just let us know where you're tuning in from. And Denny, let's dive right in. You found some studies to back this up, right? This is not just us getting up here on a soapbox. So tell us about some of the scientific studies out there that demonstrate the power of gratitude.
Well, I mean, I kind of known this for a while, but it was interesting to look into it and see that there are some pretty strong stats. Berkeley did a whole study on actually writing the things that you're thankful for and grateful for, and journaling more or less, but more of a positive journaling. And people that did that were shown to just have a more positive outlook right off the bat. And they actually saw, like even in the brain waves and everything, that there were just positive things that went on. So it works in your physical, emotional, everything, which is interesting.
It's worth mentioning that people who rate more positively, more positive mindset, also tend to have higher productivity and more effectiveness, both in their professional lives and in their personal lives as well. So, having those higher positivity scores, it really creates a ripple effect across your life, both personally and professionally.
And it was crazy to find out that 72% of entrepreneurs reported at least one mental health issue, whether it was depression, anxiety, or some kind of substance abuse, and all because of stress. And, when you see that the studies say that if you focus on gratitude, reduces stress, it kind of, makes the entrepreneur life at least easier.
Yeah, and it's worth reiterating that as a real estate investor, you are an entrepreneur, whether you think of yourself as one or not. You are in business if you are a real estate investor. Whether you set up an LLC to hold title to your properties or not, whether you flip houses, whether you own rental properties, real estate investors are self-employed. They are entrepreneurs, even if they don't have a team that works for them.
Right.
Usually as a real estate investor, you have to have a team, right? Contractors, realtors, property managers, handymen. I mean, you need it. This is a team sport. So you are in business if you are a real estate investor.
And why not reduce stress? So why not focus on the good things that are going on so that you can have fewer aches and pains. You can be more resilient when something negative does happen. You're not going to be, I don't know how many people I hear one small thing happens in their day and they're like, this is it. This is going to be a day. And then they just spoke all that negativity on their day when, if you had a journal with the positive things that you have in your life, you pop it open and you're like, ooh, okay, I do have a roof over my head. And, the things that you're thankful for, it changes your mindset. And that's the whole idea here.
Yeah. So we all, I have a gratitude practice that I do every night as I'm going to sleep at night, is just reviewing all of the things that I'm grateful for. And from the most simple, fundamental things, like you said, Danny, having a roof over my head, having a full stomach, right, to more specific things, that maybe happened that day or that week or that are going on in my life. And it ends up putting me in a positive state before I go to sleep. When your brain and your mind process the day's events and prepares you for the next day. So, that kind of hacking your subconscious, you end up waking up in the morning feeling much happier and more positive than you would if you go to bed grumbling about all the things you were complaining about that day.
And it does happen that, like, if you go to bed and you're stressed about something and you fall asleep upon that stress, you're waking up and you're already waking up with anxiety and stress. So that's
And, the expression losing sleep over something, right? I mean, when
right.
you're stressed, you tend not to sleep well, which, has a cascade effect on your productivity the next day and your ability to focus and concentrate on your work.
Exactly.
Obviously, on your interpersonal relationships, those suffer as well when you're sleep deprived. So,
And what does it do? I mean, all that
nothing.
worry does nothing. It
Does
doesn't
nothing.
change your issues, nothing. It actually stops you from finding productive ways or answers or solutions, really.
Yeah, and you brought to my attention an interesting study that more than 2/3 of the workforce out there feel unengaged with their work. They feel that their work is unimportant. They feel that they are not appreciated by their boss or their supervisor. So that's one thing that I would trade any day. I will take the stress of entrepreneurship and being a real estate investor over that feeling of lack of engagement and lack of doing meaningful work. I will take the stress, but like you pointed out, Denny, you don't have to accept a trade-off there.
Right.
You can manage your own stress. You are in the driver's seat of your own stress. So it's just a matter of taking that control over it and having these active gratitude practices, whether it's journaling, whether it's a daily review of what you're grateful for, whether it's telling the people that you love, both at work and at home, that you're grateful for them.
Or
You are in
just
control of your stress levels.
walk around with an attitude of gratitude. You'll see such a difference. Like smile at people. Even if you're not feeling it, just smile at people. It'll, if you have a good tenant, smile at the good tenant. And if you have a bad one, ignore them and deal with their issues, but at least smile at somebody because it'll change your attitude.
Yeah, and I can't remember the name of the book, but a couple years back, I read a book about the physical feedback loops that are created when you do things like smile or strike what they call power poses. Physically positioning yourself and going through the physical motions of being happy, feeling powerful. That creates a physical feedback loop. Mm-hmm. By starting with your body, that comes back to your mind and actually creates those feelings. So simply by smiling for 30 seconds actually makes people feel happier. Was one of the results they found in a study on this. And it just goes to show how much power you have over your own happiness, your own positivity, your stress levels, your productivity, and the relationships in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So, Denny, to keep this very concrete, what are some concrete steps that people can take to boost their positivity and boost their productivity levels?
Every day, at least write one thing down, but preferably a list of the things that you're grateful for, and not just the tangibles, the intangibles, the relationships and the things, that's a good way. The other thing is stop complaining. There's a saying, when you complain, you remain. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I mean, if you have to get it out, be done with it, but don't go over and over and over again, because it changes your whole mindset. So it can ruin your day. So stop complaining and start thanking people. People are helpful. Not all contractors are bad. Some of them are good. And if you see one that's not doing the best job, but he's trying real hard, thank him. And then be honest with him, but thank him. And give. Because I think that we don't necessarily see the positive aspects of giving. It makes the giver feel better, but it really does change your heart as well.
There was a study out from the American Psychological Association last year, and I don't remember the exact number, but they pointed out that people who donate money to nonprofits and to charity actually feel significantly richer themselves. That the act of giving money away makes you feel like you are richer. So, this stuff all creates a feedback loop and helps you.
If you look on the opposite end of that, I mean, somebody who's kind of miserly, they tend not to be happy people. They tend to be angry people. They're holding everything in. So there is something to be said for all of this.
Yeah, not to mention, that brings about a scarcity mindset when you have that kind of miserly attitude.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Denny, so you mentioned complaining and stop complaining. There's a good quote here by Zig Ziglar that I like. Be grateful for what you have and stop complaining. It bores everyone else, does you no good, and doesn't solve any problems. So
Yep.
Zig Ziglar is just a walking quote machine. I mean, I feel like he's got so many good quotes. Well, we are going to keep this one short and sweet, like we mentioned from the outset. But Denny, before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you want to say, either on this point or on any others?
Well, I'm going to say a quote too. It's by Eckhart Tolle, and it's acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. So if you want to feel good, you want more in life, then you have to be thankful for what you already have.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, happy Thanksgiving from Denny and me and everyone at Spark Rental. We hope you have a wonderful long weekend, either with your family in person, or if you can't be in person because of the pandemic right now, then at least connecting with them virtually. But enjoy that time with your family. It's so much more important than any of the money stuff that Denny and I talk about every week on here. So have a wonderful weekend with your family, everyone.
See you later.